Hi, everybody. This is 1,604 days since Richard was premeditatedly murdered on Fort Bliss. We know this because the DOD gave us a declaration of death with all the paperwork, and the paperwork absolutely confirmed that Richard was murdered on Fort Bliss. We still don't have his remains. While awaiting his remains, we are investigating, and that investigation has opened up lead after lead after lead after lead since April 24th, 2024, since we received the declaration of death. We have not just terminated our investigation since then. Matter of fact, we upped our investigation since then because of all the new information that we received. With Jaime Corona's, that's the DHS liaison to the Department of State. You have the Department of State, McMillan. You have Nidal Baim, the FBI informant, FBI employee, FBI agent, Nidal Baim, who is the father-in-law of Lieutenant Colonel Bugado, Bradford Bugado, in the G3 of the 32nd ADCOM, Richard's command. So you have him, and you have DES Thomas Kane, and many more. I mean, you have DES Thomas Kane telling us a lot of things, because of course, when you're the director of emergency services, when you are in charge of the gates, when you're in charge of all the passes to come on to Fort Bliss, when that's why I posted the letter that he wrote. I thought that was really important to repost as we are getting closer and closer, because now it's all about the transportation of Richard's remains. What did they do with Richard's remains? And I'll give you a little context of why such measures were taken. We have it that the command said they could not have another Guillen. They didn't want another Guillen situation. So Richard is the first soldier under the Vanessa Guillen absent soldier flow chart. They were supposed to take even more measures with Richard's case because he had to follow. He was on this new flow chart that was meant to give a quicker resolve in searches and locating missing soldiers. Well, we know that through the declaration of deceased that Richard is not alive missing. His remains are missing. We know that Dallas Hart and Lalani Hart and Tavita Nusa and James Courtney Hart and Jonathan Ambrose, and who's married to Danae Katzen, who has a shared residence with Rosa Maria Valdez Garcia, who is the mother of Thomas Hoffman, who is also the mother of Claudia Veronica Elise. These are immigration violators. And that they, and of course, Danae Katzen, having the connection to Herberto, Eddie Rocha, Belen Rocha, Lydia Rocha, and, of course, to KTSM. to KTSM Univision. Um, and we have connected Richard's case to cartel. We know that Richard's unit was engaged in weapons trafficking. We know that they are connected. We have connected them to the Walmart mass shooting. And, we've just collected hard evidence upon hard evidence upon hard evidence over and over again about the weapons trafficking, the criminal trafficking, the children's trafficking. And I think that that's the lesson, really for today is what happens when you are hurting children. What happens when you get caught or you assist in those that hurt children. And these are well established, well corroborated information that we're giving you. We're not giving you anything that other people don't know as well. And the trafficking has to have connections to transportation, to DPS. We know that Gustavo Sanchez is connected to Willie Moya, the cartel. We know that. We, have the connections with Nadal Baim, which is connected to Bradford Bugado of the G3 of the 32nd ADCOM. This is all information that we have reported over and over again, and it is being investigated. And, they are, I think there's bigger, the indications that we have gotten back is that there are other implications to all of this. And of course, you see that with Ray Velarde having being the attorney to Ismael Elmayo Zambada, the huge kingpin cartel that was recently arrested with El Chapo's son. So these are billionaires. They're absolutely organized crime cartel. And they were arrested at Santa Teresa International Jetport Airport. And, that arrest led to, these are things that have been happening in the background. And I wish I could tell you immediately every time we get a lead, but we, try to be patient, do our opens records and get all the background for it first. And that lead has produced very important information about Richard's remains, about pilots, those that are connected to Richard's case that are pilots, okay? And so if you're connected to Richard's case and you're a pilot, your name was submitted. There was a little, if you didn't do anything wrong, you don't have anything to worry about, right? If you didn't do anything wrong. But if you are, attached to Richard's case, have been involved with Richard's case, and you're a pilot, your name was submitted if you had any kind of history there at Santa Teresa International Jetport Airport. So, if you've never flown into that airport, if you don't know anything about it, if there's no witnesses seeing you flying in and out of that airport, the logs, now the information we're getting is that logs have been tampered with, and names of pilots have been tampered with. And so that's what we're working on right now, because it is in regards to our son's remains being transferred. And we did receive a few GPS coordinates, but we're still waiting to see what's going on with the logs and all of that. Um, you know, and so that's really new news um, for everyone the last few days. We've known for a long time that Ray Velarde um, was assigned to Richard when he was being retaliated or targeted, when he was being targeted. Um, so that is really curious to us, because um, why would the attorney for one of the biggest narcotics kingpins, okay, because this is fentanyl, okay, this is the fentanyl connection, and fentanyl is connected to China, right? Fentanyl is connected to China. What does China want in return for the fentanyl? Why is China um, pouring in the fentanyl into our country that's hurting our country so bad? Why is our leadership allowing the fentanyl to come in and hurt so many, kill so many, kill so many? Um, that's a big deal, and it's all over the news that the fentanyl is, primarily from China. So, um, and that means if it's coming in through Mexico, it means the cartels are working with China. And why then would um, infiltrators in our agencies and law enforcement agencies and government, and also our military, be connected? Really, they're serving foreign governments then, aren't they? They're serving foreign governments. Or if they are helping the cartel bring in fentanyl, then our military, those at Fort Bliss that were part of this, were helping a foreign government destroy so many in this country, which is, it's crazy. And what do they want in return? Um, and then we, have the arrest of the Chinese man in California, receiving tactical move storage units full of military equipment, arms, bullets, military grade, right? And military uniforms, U.S. military uniforms, that they were going to send to traffic to North Korea in the same day that Korea had the 6-day martial law. And, this Chinese was in the country illegally. Uh, Nothing against Asians. My son in law's Asian, my grandchildren. Nothing against. I'm just saying this is illegal activity. Illegal activity and aiding a foreign country, and being up to no good in our country, which I think is being a traitor, is being an absolute traitor. And then we have the 500,000. Yes, let me say that again. It's not 100,000. It's not 10,000. It's not 500. You know, um, 10,000 is a lot, but it's not even 10,000, right? It's not even 20,000. It's not even, okay, let's say 90,000, right? No, it's not even 100,000. It's not even 200,000. 300,000 is not enough. 400,000. No, we're up to 500, over 500,000. 500,000. How many cities is that? How many towns is how 500,000? Get this word, unaccompanied. Unaccompanied children. Like if you're a Gigi like I am, that is nightmare, a nightmare word. Unaccompanied children is a nightmare. Um, they are so vulnerable. They are so vulnerable for so many different reasons, so many different aspects. They are so vulnerable. And this is from all the ages to 17 years old. And we know that our 16, 17-year-olds are so vulnerable. And we know our 18, 19, 20, all the way up were vulnerable. And that's why the military, when you join the military at 18, I don't think you should be able to join the military at 18. I think the recruiters absolutely cannot. It has to be illegal that they, target high schoolers and everything. I really do. No way. They should not be able to get near our children until like 20. No, because they have proven themselves that they don't honor their obligation to care for our volunteer young volunteer soldiers, service members, that they don't honor their obligation for that. And they're very, very vulnerable. So no way, no way. They need to be older. They need to be older. Um, because you have this whole chain of command, and they give this pretty talk. Oh, we have each other's back, right? We are obligated, we have each other's back. Medal of Honor ethos. Medal of Honor ethos means that you will give your life for your fellow service members. That's what that Medal of Honor ethos is. um, that there's no, they say, talk about esprit de corps, but there was no esprit de corps. They have failed in that. And if you don't have esprit de corps, you're not working. You're not an army of one. Esprit de corps means you're an army of one, that you care about each other. But Richard was a code red. He was targeted by his unit members, by his chain of command, because they were trafficking. They were trafficking the weapons and the bullets. They were trafficking, doing more. And we have it from DES that there were multiple 14-year-old girls coming into the barracks and being pimped out. You know, sleeping. How many of you want your 14-year-old daughter sleeping in the barracks? So the breaches of duty, the breaches of promises, the breaches of security, which lead all to national security threats, then got even more convoluted by the compromise with organized crime. Because when you start making money from your crime, you have to launder it, right? Um, and then people get greedy and they want more. So this has gotten convoluted to organized crime, and it went up the chain of command, and it went into the infiltration of many of our um, agencies, and then even into our judicial system, even into the judicial system there in El Paso. And so red flags go up when I hear that the lawyer assigned to Richard, the whistleblower that was reporting on the trafficking, the very entity that Ray Velarde would have to defend his billionaire client. So who is he going to put together as who is he going to put on top as a priority? His billionaire client, El Mayo Zampata, right? Uh, the trafficker, the known trafficker, or little distinguished honor graduate soldier. I want to do my soul. I want to be the distinguished honor. Who is he going to put above, right? A 20-year-old, uh, right? A 20-year-old, or this billionaire trafficker. 20-year-old distinguished honor graduate, guidon bearer, whistleblower for the trafficking. Is he gonna side with the whistleblower for the trafficking? Is he gonna side with God? And I'm not calling Jesus God. I'm calling law. Law. Every word that proceeds from the mouth of God is law word. So you cannot traffic illegal substances, right? You cannot traffic contraband. That's lawless. So you're going to side with law, or you're going to side with a billion-dollar trafficker? I don't see how Velarde, I don't see how he could do it both. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's just one heck of a lawyer and can do it, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. That seems like a conflict there, a huge conflict that is really hard for uh yeah, for me to understand there. Yeah. Um and so the flights, why did El Mayo, a billionaire, get on a flight with El Chapo's son that had a tampered with aircraft number, we believe, and a tampered with manifest as far as the pilot goes? Why is that, and how is that connected to the transport of Richard's remains? So we've been working on that, and um, yeah, and so we released some information already, and it um, everything is we want to uh, let's just say, since we've been uh, connected to President Trump and President-elect Trump. He seems like he's a president right now, doesn't he? He really does. I mean, that Army Navy game, right? That Army Navy game, it's like, wow. Wow, it really seems like he's already the president. And everything that he's doing and the influence that he already has. The whole Paris trip was also just wow. His presence, his ringing the bell there at the New York Stock Exchange was another wow. He really, I would say, he just can't wait to get in because he's already like president. And so having all of as much, we're going to be working day in and day out until, and you know, to make sure that we have as much as possible. And one of those, the information coming back to us is about the children. They're very concerned about the crimes against the children. Anybody supporting anyone that did the crimes against the children, and I can tell you right now, Lalani Hart, Dallas Hart, um, James Hart, I think this message is for them, because of not because of me, but because of Lalani Hart and her confession, right at about the same time that Richard was code red murdered on Fort Bliss. She confessed, and had it notarized, and submitted it, filed it with the FBI. The FBI accepted her affidavit, her notarized affidavit that was a confession that Dallas Hart was engaged in incest, as a first lieutenant on Fort Bliss, and even childhood incest. Um, Now that's not me. That's Lalani Hart. She has to explain herself on that one, um, and of course, a child was a crime against a very bad crime, taking advantage of a little boy, 7 years old, I believe, 7 years old, um, in her master bedroom, multiple members of her household. That was in her confession also. And so this is what they're concerned about, the law enforcement, um, this, what's going on right now. They're concerned about anyone that's supporting, um, that kind of crime, helping anyone that was engaged in that kind of crime. And so, for that to happen in Lalani Hart's master bedroom, for that to point her finger at multiple members of her household to be engaged in that crime, and us to have the name of the child, us to have the name of the family, us to have the number of the FBI case number. And we got that because, um, it seems that Lalani was trying to show that she had influence, that she had connections in the FBI. And of course, we know that she was in a relationship with her family member, Tavita Nusa, and that, he coached her, um, to work through the system. Um, Also, she used him and the favors that she gave him, to use him, uh, to tamper with Richard's file, right? This is the, uh, Judge Roger Rodriguez's, whistleblower witness, um, complaint that Tavita Nusa with, Lalani Hart was tampering with Richard Halliday's file. And so, and we know that that is true because Agent Howell, admitted that that was true, that, Richard Halliday's file was tampered with. Um, so, that is really important for everyone to know that we have these records, that we have these confessions, that we have this evidence that shows that the prime suspects for Richard's murder are engaged in criminal acts against children. Uh, that's what they're really, I mean, of course, the murder of a U.S. Army soldier, but also for anyone that is helping, um, aiding, helping those that are engaged in crimes, crimes, very bad crimes, taking advantage of children. Um, and you know, that's all death penalty. Okay, that's all death penalty. Okay, in the state of Texas. And so even those that are helping, and this is where, like the pilots come in, right? Uh, Pilots come in if they're helping those that are committing these atrocious crimes against children. They are also facing possibly the death penalty. And, so that's really the information that we're getting out. And I wanted to share that because um, I don't think that those individuals um, should face the death penalty without first being warned that is what the law in Texas requires when you aid and abet or whatever, protect those that do these crimes against children. So, so the Santa Teresa International Jetport is absolutely in play for the transfer of Richard's remains. And anyone that was helping that is also facing, I would say, is facing the death penalty. I would want them to face the death penalty. Yes. And no anger, the depths of despair where people are gnashing their teeth and wailing and crying, that goes along with it. So I do want to tell the public while they're watching this, um, it is really painful to see the suspects, the perpetrators, those that hurt children badly, those that participated in the murder, that murdered Richard and participated in the murder, and um, the transfer of his remains, the disrespecting of his remains, a U.S. Army soldier, a whistleblower. Another thing is that he was a whistleblower. And, and then in connection with the Walmart mass shooting, um, that, because they're facing the death penalty, you're going to hear them wail. You're going to hear them cry out. They're not going to just take it. They're going to be crying out. They're going to be gnashing their teeth, and it's that's just what is expected from these criminals. That's exactly what's expected because they like to project, and then they want all the benefits um, of the crime without paying the price for doing the crime. Once they get caught, they're just, woe is me. And I'm sorry. No, the death penalty is absolutely on the table. And in our opinion, with our case, Absolutely. I hope they all get that. But there is something called the art of the deal. We've been told something is called the art of the deal, and they're working behind the scenes on the art of the deal. And yeah, because there are things about Richard's case that we don't know, that, the intelligence knows that we don't know. So we're moving forward to gather more and more evidence, and we were asked to inform, um excuse me, asked to inform those that are, we're burning the midnight oil, right? Those that are involved in this, to let them know if they're covering, um that you also are, you might not know it, facing the death penalty. So, Danae Katzen comes to mind. And of course, she's plastered all over KTSM, who she's in connection with. She was cooperating with them, right? Or conspiring with them and with this case. She's absolutely connected to KTSM. That's her home. I don't know what happened behind the scenes there. I don't know why there is this targeting, this all of a sudden they're putting it up. Maybe I don't know. Maybe someone can explain that to me. So, but if you hear anything about Danae Katzen, because she's connected to the Ortegas, right? Um, to the Moyas. She's connected to, you know, it's not, it's Bliss Avenue, right? Bliss Avenue, the Garcias, Gonzaleses, Moya, Ortegas, which is Rocha, right? Um, so that is very clear, and so she's the most wanted, right? She's the most wanted, and she is absolutely facing the death penalty in Richard's case, um, with her conspiring, with her trying to obstruct justice and trying to cover for those that targeted Richard, targeted us, and hurt us. She played along with them. And she's married to Jonathan Ambrose, who's 143 ADA. He's a Fort Bliss 143 ADA soldier at one point. I don't know if he still is. Um, um, I know some other things about his job, right? So, you know, anyway, I don't want to give too much out, but he's married to Danae Katzen, um, Gonzalez Ambrose, connected to Ortegas. So, yeah, it's just all coming together. And he's from Bliss Avenue, has a history from Bliss Avenue also, and the whole thing. Um, up to no good, up to no good. So, we have been, notified that this case. Um, let's just say that the Iran Contra scandal pales compared to this case. That's what we've been told, and we believe it because of the Walmart and the 500,000 children and the fentanyl and the weapons and the ammunition the tactical move storage units and just the trafficking and the connection with the cartel and the infiltration in our justice system, in our judicial system, with the El Paso criminal law magistrate court, with judges not even being off real, right? Not even being real. They're just imposters. They have no authority. They've botched every case, hundreds, thousands of cases. Um, the DA being a usurper, the medical examiner being an illegal, and not even qualified, and it goes on and on. And then the DPS, Texas Ranger, being assigned to our case when he's connected to Willie Moya. Um, and then, of course, Nadal Baim. Every time I think of Willie Moya, I think of Nadal Baim. And Bradford Bugado. So it's, yeah, I think Iran Contra scandal pales compared to this case. Um, and, I would just really want closure. I want our son's remains. I want these people that hurt Richard to be held accountable. And I know that there's going to be gnashing of teeth and wailing. Um, and but they need to be held accountable because they were hurting children, and those that hurt children, have to face the worst penalty, um, or the most just penalty, the righteous penalty, right, for hurting children. We cannot let people get away with it. And so many are now missing and mostly dead. So all of that is being addressed. And I just want to thank everyone. I know it's Saturday night. I know, well, it's the third Advent. Third Advent. I need to post up my third Advent. Um, we're getting closer and closer to Christmas. We're getting closer to the light. We decorated behind me is decorated Richard. Well, you can't see it through this, but Richard's Christmas tree. Remember that Richard had a Christmas tree. That was one of his belongings that they did give back. We didn't get back his computer. We didn't get back his game. We didn't get back his phone. We didn't get, but we did get back his Christmas tree, and we put that up every year. And yeah, so he's just so missed. Beautiful, absolutely beautiful, with integrity, distinguished honor graduate, whistleblower, reporting on the trafficking, and also to CPS about the children. So thank you so much. I'll be back tomorrow. Bye bye.